Well, thank you for inviting me. I feel a little intimidated. Some of the people are in the room are I did work with, so they might know the data better than I do. So, all right. So, like I said, this is very, I do it very informal. So we're going to have some questions in here that I'm going to input back. And then I may ask you questions out of the blue. So, and I'm going to pick on the students especially. So be prepared. So I'm going to kind of give a background, data collected, and then our phase 4 rules and regulations question. So I'm going to come from the perspective of the Natural Resource District and how we do the management side of it and stuff. So first of all, I'm going to give credit to Marty Stangy. I'm going to give credit to Dan Stowe, and I'm going to give credit to Carrie Weber, right, and my staff. Because this visiting with them kind of gave me some ideas and thoughts on what we should be looking for as we go through. So a lot of this is something that when I talked to them, gave me some ideas and stuff. So the area we're looking at is an area over by Schuyler. This is our NRD, kind of in the middle. Yes, I do have a pointer here. And the area of concern is this area right here. So this is the area where the water sampling that we collected was in that area too. So this is Schuyler, Columbus is over here, 3 mile for your perspective and stuff. So in 2020, and we have samples back to 2003, but I just took the last few years. So we're going to go through some nitrate samples that we collected, starting in 2020. You know, I started looking at these maps, and we've got nitrates down below, we've got nitrate Platte. So why was there lower nitrates in that area right there? So in 2021, again, had the same area, same issue. I want to notice we do have an area down here. I want to show this one, the Platte River runs right here, so I think we have the issue here was a little bit different because I think we have surface water influence to keep the nitrates a little bit lower and stuff as we go through and stuff. So again, 2022, again that same area, all around it, higher nitrates. The red, for your information, the red is over 15 parts per million nitrates. Orange is color between 10 and 15. Then we got the yellow kind of between 8 and 10. And then we got some green areas that is below 8. Our trigger is 8 parts per million. So that's why it is. So when that's what we do a trigger nitrates. And in the past, NRD is always our trigger. We looked at nitrates. That was our biggest concern as we went through and stuff.
Daryl, quick question.
Sure.
Shell Creek, is it on that map?
Yep. Give you a perspective. Okay. Shell Creek be kind of right, and Shell Creek flows right into the Platte River about right there, and then Shell Creek will start up here and stuff. So this is another project. You guys are familiar with the Shell Creek project. Newman Grove, the students have been doing the studies and sample that, and that was one creek that we did take off the enlisted for atrazine because of all the sampling. So, so that's where Shell Creek's at. Any perspective reason why, Carrie? Just for perspective.
For perspective, I mean, I'm seeing the Platte River right in
Okay.
your images, so I'm just trying to get a sense of
Okay.
where that's at geographically using Shell Creek. Is that
Okay. No. Perfect. So again, 2022. Again, it's the that same area kept coming up. 2023. Again, the same area. So, and as you can see. Basically, we have 16, we got 4 sections in there, and our rules say you have to have 9 square miles to go into a management area. So, for the nitrate side, we can get to 9 square miles, but the range with the issue we have there, how that area with did not ever move us into a higher level if we included them sections and stuff.
Can I ask one thing? The Skylar city itself shows green, but was there anything sampled within the city Skylar?
But the city of Schuyler, you know, we don't sample any wells in Schuyler. We just take the municipal well samples in Schuyler. Schuyler has, you know, they have high nitrates in one of the wells to the south that they had to take offline, and they are.
What I was thinking, is it mostly from if they're applying lawn fertilizers? That maybe why that's not showing up in this area.
You know, this is a spatial analyst in GIS, so it's one of those deals where the computer's showing there's, you know, that's what the computer's showing. But we really don't take any time. Whenever you have no irrigation wells that really that close and stuff. So then we did a mean by section. Drew over there did a lot of these mapping for me before he went up to our neighbors to the west. And so we did means, kind of give an idea. This is a different perspective. I'm showing here's 2019, again 2020, showing, you know, that area that right in the middle, and then 2023. Again, you know, the issues were right in the middle. So again, there really is no sampling spots except for municipal wells themselves in that area and stuff.
Well, and groundwater moves from the north west to
Yes,
the
okay.
southeast.
Yeah, groundwater's gonna move here, but we think we've got some groundwater movement coming that direction too from the Platte River.
And also please say something about the page. The students don't know what.
Yeah, what do you mean by phase 3?
I didn't know how to, well, okay, I don't know how detailed you want to get in the rules. Okay, so, the NRD has groundwater rules and regulations. We have different phases that we can move into management areas for water quality and for water quantity. Okay, water quality, we have 4 phases. Phase 1, which is district-wide. It's our very initial phase. It's everybody in our district in phase 1. The main rule that we have in phase 1 is all producers that irrigate or fertilizer are supposed to attend a nitrogen certification class. We have to have another one would be well permits and things like that. Phase 2, we trigger at 8 parts per million. So from 8 to 10, we make a trigger where if the nitrate averages over the 8 parts per million, the 10, then we set new rules. Their rules would be reporting to the NRD their nitrogen use, and they would have to soil sample their fields and put on and recommend amount. Phase 3 is between 10 and 15. That's when we start putting on dates for no fall fertilizing or no fall fertilizing. March 1st, you be only March 1st fertilizing, and them are the 2 criteria for phase 3. And we're going to talk about phase 4 when we come up. So that's how we regulate water quantity. We look at water levels that go up and down and stuff. So that's another whole new topic.
Another talk.
Another talk. And there's 23 NRDs for your information throughout the state. You know, and each one is we'll go back to the first map. I guess it doesn't show all of them, but this is a lot of our neighboring. You know, we got Lower Loop, we got Central Platte, Upper Big Blue, you know, Lower Platte South, Paco, Missouri River, Lower Elkhorn, Upper Elkhorn, Lewis and Clark, and most of these NRDs was when they first draw them in 1972 was done by a watershed, not by groundwater. So sometimes we find out is that even though we have a line here, you know, the aquifer pocket, and this is from a study from Jesse Corris, that this pocket right here actually probably goes all the way through here. So should management be similar through all that because it's kind of all connected? Thanks the way the NRD does it and stuff. So I I should let Dan talk about this.
I'm not the
These are your slides, so if I misspeak, I took some out. But. So we did some Beto's work, Beto's work. We worked EA engineering, collected samples, and then we had Dan group analyze them for us. So we did some more research, more studies to figure out why is that area potentially the way it is and stuff. So there's some background information that Dan put together. Nitrate areas are increasing, different phase in 2, 3 areas. We looked at herbicide, geogenic arsenic and uranium. The Beto sampling provided access to changing, and then we did some isotope sampling to know if it's commercial fertilizer or is it manure or organic. Now, organic for nitrogen, we got inorganic nitrogen. So we got 2 different types of nitrogen that sometimes you have to deal with. In that particular area, we do have a lot of feedlots on top of it we're talking about, so we wanted to make sure we knew what we were doing. So we did the Beto sampling. I drew the circle. We probably didn't do the holes in the right location. It's things we learn and to go through, but we did a lot of spots within our district that we looked at. But this is that area again that we showed lower nitrates. Probably didn't really think much about it at that time, but now I wish we would have and stuff. So, except we did the isotope samples that we went through. Here's this one particular site. Calculated it out, figured out it's N18 or N15. Yep. We looked at that to make sure, and that's how we decide. Dan, you mean what the N15 is?
It's a signature for fertilizer versus organic sources of nitrogen.
And 18 would be, 18 would be.
It indicates whether denitrification has occurred. It can also be associated with nitrate-based fertilizer.
Okay, thank you. I always got to depend on these guys. That's why I said I give credit to where credit's due. So, but we did a lot of nitrates, and as you can see, we did have some areas that had some nitrate. You can see some leaching going through as we went through and stuff. So we did, the isotope samples came back, and you can see most of it was in this area, or it was a combination of both. We didn't have a lot. We had only one over on the manure side of it, or organic nitrogen. So pretty well it says, that it probably ends up. And what we're finding out in that particular area is that people put manure on, and then they put commercial fertilizer on top of it. So it's sometimes hard to tell. So we did the area. He looked at arsenic, uranium, and then the herbicides in that area. Again, it's kind of the same area. These are the nitrate samples that we collected. And then he found that most of the arsenic, uranium, herbicide concentration was below the drinking water standard. From here to where we did the sampling, they probably were. Ground nitrate, the majority was 10. Residual was 3 times higher in corn, which we figured, and 2 times higher in alfalfa. But as you can see, we had quite the leaching potential below the 19 and 96 pounds of nitrogen per acre being lost in these particular fields as you went through. And then he said the nitrogen was a mixture of commercial and nitrogen. So we did learn a lot, but we still didn't come up with the answer. Why was that area lower lower than the other areas and stuff? So then we started looking at, he did the nitrate for uranium, and for information, uranium is 30 is the drinking water standard for uranium, and and here's the uranium. Most of the uranium kind of you see uranium. You had one, you had the high of right at that 25, and then we had some low ones as we went through and stuff. So, any other comments on that one, Dan? As talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that was a good summary.
Okay. So, I think a year or two later, we decided, let's do, now I'm have some better slides than this. This is, I just want to kind of give you an idea. I said, okay, what can we do different? So Dan said, well, why don't we do like cross sections through that area? So we kind of did 3 or 4 cross sections through the area. We took a lot of samples, and we collected a lot of samples. I'll go. I did this slide here. I want to just kind of give you a perspective. You know, here's the Platte River. You know, and then Shell Creek is right there. Here's Highway 30, and then here's Skyler. Kind of give us a perspective of what area was kind of looking at and stuff. Okay. So then I blew the next slide up, just kind of the same information. Then we started looking at NO3, NO2, 15N, 18O, arsenic, iron, magnesium, and uranium. Then that's when we started seeing there's a 52, 44. But the farther we went north, the uranium went down. The farther we went south, this uranium went down. So we just did uranium by itself. As you can see, Road D, if you're familiar with Road D, here's Highway 30 again. Again, right on that road seems to be higher amounts of uranium. Again, we go south, a little bit lower, and go up above, it would stay higher and stuff. But I have another slide later on that shows more interesting, more information and stuff. So that's kind of how we found there's a uranium issue in this area. So 5 years worth of studies, working with Dan, talking to Carrie, figuring out what the uranium could be. So other parameters we did take at the same time. You know, we always look at, you know, is dissolved oxygen is an issue maybe in an area. Conductivity is around 500 to 600, pH is 7.85. So none of that really stood out as another contributing factor in my opinion, you know, stuff. So at that time, we looked at our phase 4, okay? Our phase 4 rules say levels of nitrate has to exceed 15 parts per million in 50% of the well sampled, okay? Level of uranium needs to exceed the 30 parts per billion because we can manage for human-induced non-point contaminant exceeding 100% of the MCL. That's right in our groundwater rules and regs. Okay, so we had to kind of meet that 30 parts per billion threshold to manage for. Again, we have to do 9 square miles on top of it. So we looked at, Drew and I spent a lot of time drawing maps together and what will work, what will not work. So we kind of came up with the first one. This is kind of the first drawn boundary. We left these sections out again. It met the nitrate criteria, you know, 50%, 17.9, 67%, 18.2. But my question to Drew is, we have a nitrate issue down below here. So how are we going to include them if we want to move into a higher management area? So we looked at another alternative. Again, draw a boundary. We put this area. We took that area out at that time, and we included this area as our management area. But we still adding a couple of these green sections, drop this below that 50% threshold again. So still we really didn't meet the criteria to move into phase 4. So
Very quick question.
go ahead, sure.
9 square mile area, typically how many wells you end up having?
It's going to depend on how many wells are in the area. Some 9 square miles, you may have 4 per section, so it'd be 36 wells. But I go with Fremont, I can get 9 times 10, I can get almost 90 wells. You know, it just depends on the well density and stuff. But we're doing only sample wells. We don't have to collect every well. Yeah.
What are the differences between phase 3 and phase 4?
Okay. I'll kind of go through that. If I got rules coming up, Dan, I'll just kind of show the differences in phase 3 and phase 4. Phase 4 is a lot more stringent. Phase 4 is kind of, kind of copied what Central Platte NRD did back in the 80s and 90s. Very, really got stringent and stuff, and that's we kind
But
of.
they don't look at uranium.
No, I know they don't. I know they don't. So I said, this is a whole new ball game for me too, Dan. You know, it's something that.
So I'm curious, I don't want
No, go ahead.
to, what do the board members and producers think about having high uranium in these phase 4 areas? What's their reaction?
They are mildly impressed that we had the initiative to do a management area,
Oh, okay,
because we are really looking at the public health side more and more.
okay.
You know, from the public health side, you know, and they talk about this a lot. They said let's get this information out to the public. Let's tell them what's going on out there. Let's just don't kind of just push it under the rug. So,
That's great.
but again, I should give credit to Jesse Bell group, because you know he's really been pushing the public health side of it too. So we did implement a phase 4 on December 15th of 2024, and we ended up with a boundary like this. And this, going to boundary like this, then we met the criteria for nitrates, but then we have the average uranium at 40 parts per 7 on 6 samples within that area that's done. The board's decision on why they did that, we'll manage it all very similar as nitrates, just like a nitrate management area, because it was really not logical to leave 4 section out there just because of the uranium stuff. What I'm hearing, again, I'm going to carry, you know, we're saying nitrate and uranium kind of go hand in hand a lot of places.
And this coincides with Skylar having uranium issues in their
Skylar's.
supply wells.
Yep. They already blend. Yep. So this is the area we're looking at. The purple is still in our phase 3, but this area, including the area with higher uranium, is also a phase 4 now too. So this is our phase 4 area. This particular information, very well, there is a pivot there, but the sand pit company bought the pivot, so it won't be there much longer. So that was an area we were not going to manage as we're moving forward and stuff. So our objective, moving to phase 4, provide safe drinking water without treatment. That's really what we're going to try to shoot for. We're trying to reduce the nitrate groundwater for each section within the phase area about 1 milligram or parts per liter within 3 years. We're going to see if we can get a drop. And reduce the average phase 4 to below 10 within 10 years. You know, we're giving us pretty stringent goals here, but you got a goal to start out with. We want to change the current trend line from gaining nitrogen groundwater to decreasing. We want to improve the nitrogen use efficiency in 50% of the fields in 3 years, and then improve in all fields in 10 years. Now, nitrogen efficiency can be used in grain yield by the total amount of nitrogen to the crop for you guys when you do the calculation on that and stuff. And then within 10 years, we're going to reduce the amount of nitrogen applied to the field by 15% against the baseline year of 2024. So these are kind of the goals that we set ourselves to as a staff and as a board to try to accomplish and stuff.
So have you experienced any pushback on the fertilizer application rate?
We just started December 15th of 2024. We'll find out.
Oh, okay, so that'll happen this year, then.
Yes. Not saying we won't. The thing that we did for 3 years, and you was up at one of my meetings, we put this in front of producers for 3 years in a row. So when I went into the hearing process, I had one person stand up. He really didn't. He just kind of says, I don't know how I'm going to do the split applications, but all the farmers knew it was coming.
Okay.
So phase 4 rules. We're going to do a 2-step process. Again, we're going to go out. we're gonna have them soil sample here now, hopefully they're getting soil samples, meet with them, and make a recommendation to them. And then we'll have our 15th, we actually have the actual nitrogen and fertilizer, what they actually put on as it goes through and stuff. So this is completely different. Phase 3, they just have the one report at the end of the year. The soil samples was a year old. Wasn't doing a lot of good, in my opinion, because it's already, the crop here is already planted and stuff. Required split application of commercial nitrogen fertilizer is required with 80 pounds maximum applied before May 1st. So when we make the recommendations, we're going to say it comes out to be 130 pounds. They can still only put 80 pounds on prior to May 1st. So we're going to try to encourage or force them to move forward to split applications.
I really like the utilizing the manure credit.
We're going to try to utilize manure credit. We're going to visit with the manure people. I've talked to DEE. That's going to have to be a lot of rule changes there to help work with that. Because the issue with manure, and people realize that if you have a lagoon full, you got to get rid of the manure. But a lot of people are not even taking, they apply and they don't even look at the credit sometimes. So we're going to really try to utilize the manure credit as we go through and stuff. Phase 4, again, nitrogen application must not exceed district recommendations. So we're going to make recommendations. And let's say if it's 130 pounds and they've been putting on 190 pounds, we'll see what kind of pushback we get. But we do have it in the rules. They know it's in the rules. We'll try to work as we go through. Again, our formula is a little bit different than UNL, but we don't utilize 35 plus. We don't give them the cushion as we go through and stuff. So we're really going to cut them back. So I think with that in mind, if somebody was within 30 pounds one way or another, we'll probably first couple of years we'll probably say we'll probably move forward. But if this ain't working, we're going to have to crack down this more as we go through.
So, this is correct soil sampling protocols, what is correct?
We use UNL soil sampling protocols. You go 8, we go 0 to 8, or 0 to 10, and then 10 to 24, 10 to 36. Ideally, we're encouraging 0 to 8, 8 to 24, and 24 to 36. But the minimum they got to do is 2 samples, a shallow and a deep, per 40 acres. And that's going to be a challenge in itself.
And the realistic yield expectations.
And that's, we had the data from 2003 for yields. So we'll be able to go to and say, well, this is what your yields, this is what you told us for yields for the last 20 years.
And the actual production history for insurance, when they take into, do you look into that APH, actual production history, or this is what you need?
We're not going to look into that now. Not this time. We got to work our way into this. Again, flow meters are going to require high capacity well. We don't have flow meters out at the present time. Get a good handle on what's actually being used for water. We probably got 30% of that area is gravity fields yet. But we have a lot of these 10-acre fields that got railroad tracks or stuff like that in there, so that sometimes a pivot won't work and stuff. And then we do have acre allocations in the rules, but we're going to hold off for 3 years just to get the meters on, get a water use, and see how much they're actually using, and then we may go back and see, the allocation side of it a little bit more as we go through and stuff. So this is complete, all new to the people up there compared to phase 3. Phase 7, or rule 7 is we're going to try to meet with every farmer one-on-one. That's probably going to be our biggest challenge. because there's 80 producers up there. I went out and met with one producer. He had 6 fields, and it took me half a day. So it takes more time than I was predicting. But the thing about when you talk to producers, you talk about a lot of other stuff too. So your conversation will go off the page a little bit. But we try to build relationships with the producers. It really helps. So, and then we're going to try to work in the nutrient irrigation agreement. The nitrogen reduction program really came out at a good time. When I went up there, was talking to producers. We had a lot of people who signed up for the nitrogen reduction program, and that couldn't be the agreement as we go through and stuff. So that was kind of luck of the draw there. Not saying it was, but we worked through. And like I said, the purpose of the agreement is just we wanted to implement practices to actually try something new or different. You know, that's our ultimate goal. We've got producers up there that range from 25 years old to 85 years old, and it's going to be, each one is try something different to move forward on the best management practices as we go through and stuff. So residential sampling. So we conducted water sampling on over 100 domestic wells with spot checks with some uranium. Just did that last year. So, what is the health risk for uranium? What's the health risk for uranium? What's the health risk for uranium?
Kidney damage, bone damage. At very high concentrations, it can lead to cancers, but you're generally not going to see that concentration present in Nebraska.
Okay. So that was a good justification for the health risk side of it. So we did one farmstead. We had a shop well with 41 parts per billion, and the house well 400 feet weighed 0.86. Why the difference? That's correct. Depth. The shop well was like 40 feet deep, and the house well was 8 feet deep. This particular site is east of Schuyler. So we know pretty sure that the uranium is bigger than them 4 sections. It's probably 10 or 15 miles long in here. But we don't have enough shallow wells to take a good sample and stuff. So, is there any way to take uranium out for the drinking water standard? Can you take it out? Is there anything we can do to take the uranium out of the water?
Shake it both ways.
Well, okay, I got my test. Now what did I do? I got my test. What did I do?
Reverse osmosis.
Reverse osmosis.
But you have to be careful because technically your filter will become a hazard, and so it has to be disposed of properly.
That's correct. So, we did our sampling. We out sampled, like I said, we did 100, and we took some samples of some uranium samples. 44 parts before RO, 0.15 after. So we know the RO units are working. Another one we found, a nitrate in this particular was actually 7.09. So sometimes the relationship to nitrates and uranium doesn't always hold true to my concept. So another example, uranium was 26, and after was 0.1. So we know RO units work. Disposing of them is a challenge as we go through and stuff. So and particularly this one, the nitrate was less than 0.5 before and after on RO units. So a lot of producers did take advantage of DE's cost share. We got like 10 sites up there that applied for RO units. So
Daryl, do you have a feel for how many have drinking wells without treatment still?
Yes, pretty close. Too many. I'd say 25%. And some would not let us sample naturally, and some just said, I've drank it for, I'm 95 years old, I've drank it this long, what's the big deal? Yes,
So I see Richland up there.
Yes.
And I've been informed by a member of the community that they've also had high selenium levels. Have you measured selenium?
no, we have not. That's something, like I said, I think.
Behavior is really similar to uranium.
Yeah, yeah. And that's where, yeah, and that's where we find out, and this is again from Marty Stange's study, is that, we find high nitrates, we find high iron, which is at low nitrates, we find high uranium and low nitrates. So there's a lot of contaminants that really can tie the nitrates up, which can be good and bad. So we did do the drilling to Richland. We did find high uranium and high nitrates. Some with high uranium, some with higher nitrates, some with low nitrates. Really a mixture of things. But we did know we know there is a standpoint well still in Richland. So we also we're doing an aid dating project with USGS, and we also collect uranium at that time. I just found out yesterday that we finally got results.
That's what I've been doing all week.
So this is the kind of the uranium. Like I said, this was our sampling that we did. Here's 2021, 22, 23. I don't have 24 on there. I do have 24 in a little bit. High uranium, low uranium as scattered through. This is from the age dating from the same locations. We did have one location at 49, 30, 25, and for this one, again, we did a variety as we went through it too. So, what would you do for practices? Let's hear some students. Scott, what would you do? What are we going to do?
I think more public health.
Should we worry about the public health?
No, the thing I was thinking in my mind that assuring the public that blending the water and bringing it a little below the MCL versus somebody like pregnant or small children. For them, maybe the reverse osmosis may be a better option. They will be more assured in that way than just meeting the standard of below 10 MCL or below 30 MCL.
What if I'm at a farmstead and only got one well? How am I going to blend it?
I mean, the cities, like Skyler or others are doing it. I mean, Skyler.
I know it's kind of can blend it because they have numerous wells. But if you're out in the country, RO is probably your answer. More studies. But from the NRD standpoint, we have to do something sooner or later. We can't just keep studying this place forever. So that's why we moved forward with phase 4, right or wrong. We decided to move forward. So we get some practices. The practices we're recommending: split application, variable rate, cover crops, soil moisture sensors, yield goal reduction, grid soil sampling. I'm feeding up because my time's getting close. Grid soil updating irrigation nozzles. This is one that our board has been discussing more and more. Is that some of these nozzles, even though they're low pressure, probably are not very, not irrigating uniformly anymore. And so it's something that our board is looking at cost sharing on this irrigation nozzles, even in low pressure, that NRCS will not cost share on. Applying more grip for 3 years. That's always another tough one. A lot of people do it for 1 year, doing that 3 year. Just the same crop rotation and other practices. We are offering cost share on water flow meters. We are got gravity pivot. We've got 10 applications to convert. So we are converting some fields up there. We've got 4 new SDI fields up in that area now, and about 6 new gravity pivots. That's, we're working with the EQIP. That area gets ranked pretty high, so they get approved pretty easy up in that area. So I'm working sensors, cover crops. We have done some projects with the high void clearance with universities, putting cover crops up there. Every year we've done it, it's been dry, so we never get a good stand. Fertigation equipment, we do cost share on it too. Fertigation equipment, iron, closest incentive. Soybeans is tough to grow in that area. So there is some products out there that can at least get the yields up there. So we are cost sharing. There's a couple co-ops that can sell it. Again, grid soil sampling. We do cost share the variable rate nitrogen. We did do a project with the Sentinel company. We got a couple fields. We did the in-season nitrogen, and we got another one coming this coming year. And then we have included reverse osmosis cost share in our own budget now too. So we are, and we've had a couple applications from that too already. So doing a lot of demonstration projects up there. We like to do something in that round with the crop rotation, but that one's hard to sell. This one, the Sentinel or the Baramax, is out of K-State. Soybean hybrids. They're working on that a little bit too and stuff too. So we do have a lot more to consider. How large an area is the uranium issue? The groundwater flow, we really need to look closer to that. Sampling well depths, we really haven't looked that close to the sampling well depths. Are we doing the best practices available? Geology, we probably should look closer than that. And then the other contaminants, again, we know there's other contaminants out there that we need to look at. And I'm sure there's going to be something come up in the next year that we need to look at as we go. Questions. So, producer story. We have a meeting in December. You got coming off.
Couple of minutes.
This is the interesting story, though. This is a very interesting story. Had a producer that came in. We have meetings in December. We talked to producers. He come in and he says, we heard about the uranium. And he says, yeah, I just put a new pivot out there and I took my irrigation pipes to the scrapyard. I couldn't sell them. They wouldn't take them. They were radioactive. So they couldn't sell the scrap metal because when you go into these scrap metal yards, they have buzzers that are radioactive. They couldn't sell their metals.
Yeah, so I wanted to learn more about the measurement technique that they use.
Well, it's in Columbus, the scrap yard, and so then he did the one, and he went around, and so yeah, so.
It's possible, but I'd like more information.
So where does the radioactive come from? You got to assume that. I mean, he was right in the middle of that high uranium area too. So
I can see that going in the newspaper.
Nobody telling anybody.
The next question is radioactive corn.
Yeah.
It turned the newspaper.
Well, see, that's a study and then Marty Stang and I talked about that. We really mean you're looking at the food product side of it too. When we're irrigating with high uranium. I think Carrie, you did some comments on that.
There's a study looking at a lot of it is caught in the root, right? But if you have lettuce, tomato, it's the food crop. Grains are less likely, but food crop, yes, because especially if the higher the water content, leafies, tomatoes, melons,
So
yeah,
the high uranium in the Central Valley Aquifer, where we grow those things.
Yes.
right.
Great.
But farmers, right? You got a garden
You have a
during the
garden.
summer.
Yep.
That's where.
We had some students at Grand Island that did experiment with irrigating the garden crop with, and then we measured uranium.
Yeah.
But talking about Grand Island, they have a treatment plant to remove uranium from.
This was from a domestic well.
Yeah. But I think that's a study we really need to look at. If any of you students want a project, I have a project for you.
Not going to run out of projects.
Is this the perfect solution? I don't know. We got to do something. Is doing nothing the solution? We felt there wasn't. Again, I want to thank everyone that helped me for their advice or thoughts. So, with that, questions? that didn't get answered? Yes.
I got a question for you. One of the things I didn't see as a potential solution, and that's especially for nitrates, and that's like wetland restoration is the best management practice. USDA has lots of funding for those. Our agency does as well with Nebraska Game and Parks. And you know, they're excellent denitrifiers. I know
They're excellent
farmers don't necessarily, they have to fit into their operation or figure out a way to compensate, but again, there's programs that are available. So just curious if there's any thought or discussion about that as a
At every
surface
one of the
solution.
meetings I've always had interest, people get up and talk about, and that was one of the options that, you know, we'd love to see more CRP up there, get more of the grass up there. I mean, the solution would be to get, if we get more grass up there, we can eliminate south of the highway pretty quick. But when the banker has a loan and the kids are farming it, doesn't get enough income.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Some of
Well,
those
it has
are
been
fairly
talked about,
lucrative,
yes.
yeah, especially the wetland reserve easement program.
there is a wetland in that area,
Yeah.
just south of, about 2 miles south of that area.
Yeah, that whole area historically would have had a lot of wetland, and then you get up on the plateau there, there's a lot of little playa
And there's a
wetlands.
native grass prairie
Yeah.
out there too.
Yeah,
So,
great, thank you.
yep.
Well, you mentioned that almost 30% of the plots of upland were gravity irrigated. Can you show exactly when in the map that you showcased for the phase 4 this also located?
You want the map, the page 4 map?
Yeah, phase 4 map where you mentioned that almost 25% or 30% of the growers still use flooded irrigation or gravity
Okay.
irrigation system.
Sure. Lot area down area.
Okay.
The railroad track's right there.
So each square is 9 square miles or
This
36?
this is one section.
So one
Square-
six-
one square.
That's one section.
Yeah.
So we've got our 9 square miles definitely, but
If I remember correctly, depth of water is about 6 feet.
yeah, we've got 6 feet down here and we've got about 80 feet up here.
Hydroponics farm.
But here you got a lot of gravity riding here with this railroad track, you know.
So where it is much shallow depth of water.
And it's got shallow areas of the water in there too, yes. Yep. Because you got the, you know, any one of these little, you know, it's like anybody, you know, they'll irrigate it any way they can.
You know, you said something, one other thing, that you cannot convince people to go for a crop rotation, mostly continuous corn in the 3 year. But how do you think that they will be convinced to lower a yield goal reduction?
I think in that area we're going to require it anyway. I mean, we're yield goal reduction or nitrogen reduction.
You said yield goal, yield goal.
Okay,
Realistic yield.
Yeah.
realistic yield goal. I think most of them most of them, with the corn price the way it is, nitrogen applied, I think it's going to be a little easier to sell the present time for cutting your yield goals back. I think a lot of people don't realize when they say 270 bushel, they don't know how to calculate a realistic yield goal. And that's where our as a staff we're going to go out and visit with them and talk to them and try to say, well, this is take the 5-year average and do a 5 or 10% increase and stuff.
So you are going to use the 20-year data set that you have from these growers and say that this is what has been for the past 20 years in this.
Yes, we're going to use our data we collected, yes. Yep. But we utilize your soil sample too. So,
Do you think the monitoring that you're doing now for uranium and arsenic is getting more attention and people are more serious about doing better nitrogen management?
I think so.
So just
But,
nitrate alone
but
wasn't.
the thing I still have at issue is, can I absolutely say that it's a connection, is it connected?
Yeah, that's the hard part. isn't it?
Yeah, I can't absolutely say, is
But they're listening more closely now.
Yes. Yes. And the other thing, we are working with the Skyler FFA. They're trying to do their Know Your Well project. They're trying to get out and collect samples, and I think rain was on their
They're doing
list.
selenium in that screen for the Know Your Well project.
Yep. So, but that was the issue there, is they just don't have time to get out and sample wells. That is good. So, but we try to do a lot of education with the kids in Scatter. Moving the new generation around.
Are you phasing in the meter requirement, or how many meters are we talking about in this area?
We're close to 350 meters, is what we're gonna talk about.
All in, they gotta be in 1 year, or
Our goal is having them by March 1st of this year.
did you get much?
We've been offering cost share for the last 2 years.
Okay.
And so I would say we're probably 75% already.
Oh, great. That's great.
And we're still offering cost share. The good news is the real big producers that have 40 fields already got meters on.
Okay.
I have 2 good directors in that area that really does a good job of communicating our information out to. I mean, they sometimes call me up, they talk to Daryl, they don't like me called at midnight. But there will be, yes, there will be people that stray. We always did, it always is. But, yes?
Are there repercussions for producers not following the phase 4 rules?
Well, we have, the NRD has the cease and desist rules, is what we have, okay? So we could take them to court, take them cease and desist, but our committee board, again, we are gonna try to work our way into it. We're not gonna just hammer them right away, because it's, we're all gonna learn together. But there would be repercussions, let's see, 2 or 3 years down the road, yeah, we may have to,
And that's cease and
And it-
desist, is that cease and desist on their irrigation?
right.
Everybody do that?
Yeah. Well, we can do it any way we want. We can cease and desist, but the judge would have to make, the cease and desist is a fine. It's not that we can't go out and shut them off. The cease and desist is just a terminology in a lawyer term that you can take them to court and the judge will say, okay, we can give you a $100 fine or $5,000 fine or whatever and stuff. So, the meter, yeah, if they aren't on by March 1st, I'll be going around knocking on doors and find out why, and then we'll probably take them to the committee in May or June and see what the reason. Usually we start taking them to the NRD, they usually back away, but we are cost share for them, And the problem with meters, the present time, we're offering $1,000. Meters can run up to $3,000 now. So it gets expensive.
One more question?
So what is your cost share for meters?
$1,000.
You haven't increased that because prices have gone up?
Our grant, I can't, I had a WSF grant.
But I've had 3 years to do this, and I waited the last minute, now they're more expensive. You can't pay me more.
No, because that's not fair, that's not fair.
Daryl's heard them all, right?
I've been with the NRD over 25 years, okay, so, yes.
Do you have any plans or strategies to try and reach some of the producers who have been more resistant to having their wells sampled, or is there just?
I will physically go out, I physically go out and see them. This last summer, I had an old producer that, he said, I'm not going to do any of this, so I went out, we sat across the picnic table for 2 hours. Within 2 weeks, he came in and applied for a new meter and bid it, so. I'm a good salesman sometimes, so.
We need more Daryl.
Well, I think on that note, we'll wrap up today's conversation, but Daryl, thank you for your
Thank you.